Welcome to the Crystal Self-Healer Podcast. I'm Carissa Weaver. On this podcast, we blend the magic of crystals with the science of psychology to help you break free from chaos, ditch the overwhelm, and master your emotions so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day. Get ready to unlock your intuition and restore your true power as we cover how you can transform your life using crystals and self-awareness. Are you ready to get started? All right, let's go. In this episode, we're going to look back on the most popular episodes of 2025. One thing we did differently this year was include tarot. Tarot is a wonderful tool for self-discovery and growth that supports you in creating emotional balance and navigating everyday challenges. So let's dive into some Minor Arcana highlights. This first clip comes from episode 55, where we talked about understanding and creating crystal pairings. Crystal pairings, while simple, is a lot more deep than you may think. And when I say deep, I don't mean you need alphabet soup after your name to figure it out, but deep because it's asking you to have awareness and acknowledge what it is you want and how you are trying to get there. Crystal pairing is the selection of two or more crystals to work together synergistically, either to amplify a desire, balance opposing energies, or enhance the focus of a specific intention or practice. This can also be applied to the pairing of crystals with other tools like tarot, where the crystals complement the energies of the cards, creating a deeper layer of meaning and energetic support. Most often, I see my clients hesitant in picking their crystals or associating it to a need or desire. There's often a sense of distrust in their knowledge, their abilities, and their intuition. They've spent so much time researching and analyzing that they've created a loop they can't seem to get out of. Then they turn to the internet or the books and find the information gives them enough to keep them confused because it conflicts with another source or something they've learned in the past. But the hesitation, self-doubt, and overwhelm you feel when choosing crystals aren't unique to you. Trust me, I've been there too. In fact, I remember feeling so insecure when I began building healing grids or assigning crystals to tarot cards. The biggest shift was a mental one, when I finally tapped into some stubbornness and decided to do things because I wanted to. It was my own little game of FAFO, but with some structure behind it. Understand what it is you want to get out of the crystals. To put this another way, what energy are you calling in or wanting to release? If you're looking to balance or enhance energies, you may need different crystals to accomplish this. For example, if you're wanting to overcome obstacles that are standing in the way of you achieving your goals, you may want to pair a crystal that helps in clear thinking, like fluorite, with one that inspires action, like citrine. Another alternative could be choosing a crystal that helps you release negative patterns that keep you stuck, like black obsidian, and then again, one that helps with taking action, like orange calcite. At the end of the day, the magic is in selecting crystals that will help you tap into and anchor in the qualities you need in order to make progress on your goals. When it comes to tarot cards, it's the placement as well as the meaning of the card that gives you the jumping off point for which crystal to pair it with. For example, if you have pulled the Ace of Swords and its placement is in the what to release, you'll want a crystal that can help in counteracting the general interpretation of the card. So with the Ace of Swords being about success, victory, and new beginnings, and those qualities or properties are getting in your way, for example, maybe you drop projects for something new and shiny, you would want a crystal that is more rooted and grounded energy that also offers some stick-to-itiveness, like tiger eye. Is tiger eye the only crystal that would work here? No, but the properties it has support the energy that is the opposite of what you are wanting to release. So here's what the Ace of Swords energy in the what to release position is suggesting in this scenario. It's human nature to want to avoid uncomfortable feelings like failure or disappointment. But if you are constantly focusing on new beginnings, shiny new things, and how they could be successful, you miss the opportunity to tweak what you have already done to find the success you were working toward originally. The next clip comes from episode 60, where we explored how to move beyond defeat. The hardest part of any path is deciding when the right time to change or shift course is, and that's what's being invited in for this particular reading. That introspection and reflection on whether what you've been doing has brought you the success and results you set out to achieve. Things don't always go the way we want them to, and I think we're all familiar with the official definition of insanity: doing the same thing over and over again, expecting that something will change. But let's also be realistic and understand that there is a certain amount of our personal identity that we create from what it is that we do, whether that's our job, our relationships, or our religion, just to name a few. And that's what makes this pivotal moment so difficult. There's this underlying sense of loss that can be experienced as confusion or as an attack on your identity. And usually what this brings about is a sense of defeat, like all is lost and not worth it anymore. For example, let's say you've invested a lot of time and effort into relationships that once brought you joy, but over time they became more draining than uplifting. You found yourself constantly compromising your values, your peace, and your needs to maintain these connections, but letting go also felt like losing your identity, who you thought you were. While the Eight of Cups is about walking away, it's not definitive in how that walking away is brought about. If we are to look at the Eight of Cups in all that it is representing, the act of walking away isn't solely about the loss, but about moving towards things that will provide you with a deeper alignment. The defeat is not quite defeat. You see, the crux of the Eight of Cups is that this is the moment when staying where you are is probably just as painful as walking away. And that's what needs to be addressed. This is that horrible, terrible moment when you get to show yourself some loving kindness and choose your own path and alignment over settling for something that you know deep down isn't right for you. And when you're faced with situations that you don't like, you always have a choice. When you decide to face things head on, you get 3 choices: change it, live with it, or leave. I'm encouraging you to take the first option, to seek ways to create change in healthy ways that bring benefits into your life. This can take on so many different forms, and this is where all the fun is. In order to see this part as fun, though, there's a pivotal action that you'll need to do, and that's processing the emotions that are being stirred up. You can go back to episode 30, where I talk about this in more depth, but the benefit of processing the emotions is that it enables you to avoid being swayed by the intenseness of any emotions you may be feeling, leading you to more clarity and objectiveness when looking at the situation you're in. This will help you avoid staying in the weeds where you're bogged down with all the what ifs and the analysis paralysis that comes along with this pivotal moment. When you're not bogged down with all the feels, it allows you to tap into and be creative. And if at the end of the day the change you need is to physically walk away, then you'll know that it's from a place of empowerment and alignment instead of a knee-jerk reaction to a difficult situation. Being the Eight of Cups, its core underlying message is around mastering your emotional response to the circumstances and situations you face. And when you're not at the whim of emotions, you create the foundation for clarity that what felt like defeat may not in fact be actual defeat. Our final clip comes from episode 58, where we talked about creating crystal connection and what's possible when you have emotional clarity and the support you crave. Humans thrive when they feel seen and understood. It's why communities are so important. So when the Ten of Cups shows up in the what to call in placement, you're being urged to seek out bonds that provide a sense of belonging. Often, people will pull away when they're feeling the effects of this noisy world. The quiet you get when you pull away can bring you a sense of relief at first, and that feels really nice. But all too often, the relief you feel is temporary. So it's important to recognize when this self-protection has turned into self-isolation. Healing doesn't mean always doing it alone. Sometimes transformation happens through witnessing and being witnessed. Coming together with intention doesn't just ease loneliness, it elevates you, reminding you that healing helps you rise above the fray. Through your own intentional practice, you'll create a more cohesive experience for yourself, experiencing more harmony and resilience. When you feel more confident in you and your experience, you navigate the world in a different way. And there's a ripple effect because you're less reactive, less prone to knee-jerk reactions. When you respond to life instead of reacting to it, the world's chaos no longer dictates you or your energy. You build a sort of immunity to it, and in turn, you bring more peace into your connections, which not only prevents opportunities for conflict, but it also gives you the courage so you can show up in collective healing spaces to expand your experience and find or build that community. You can experience a deep sense of fulfillment when you stop forcing or seeking sameness from others, but instead embrace a shared emotional experience. And what better to do that than through what you love, crystals and tarot. You may have noticed a theme running throughout these highlights, the way crystals and tarot work together to support emotional clarity, alignment, and decision-making. Many women come to me already aware of where they feel blocked, especially around their confidence and skill with using crystals and tarot as tools rather than concepts. If you're ready to move beyond listening and start practicing with more structure and support, that's where the Crystal Self-Healer Members Portal comes in. It's designed to help you dismantle the stories and beliefs that keep you second-guessing yourself so you can deepen your skills. Inside the portal, you'll find healing sessions to help you process emotions, rituals to anchor and direct energy, and ongoing support when you feel stuck, along with courses, workshops, and activations that build real spiritual alignment. Starting in January, a new Tarot Mastery course will be added to the portal. If working with tarot more confidently is something you're feeling called to, I invite you to explore that by visiting my website, 3charmedgems.com, or using the link in the show notes to learn more. Everything inside the portal is there to help you recognize and interrupt the patterns and cycles that keep repeating so you can move forward with more ease and integrity. If you're interested in a weekly crystal and tarot forecast, you can access it inside the Charmed community. These weekly readings are designed to help you align your energy and focus your week. You can access these readings and join us for free. The link is in the show notes. All right, my friends, that wraps up this week's episode. Thank you for joining me here today on the Crystal Self Healer podcast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, leave a review, and take the What Crystal is Best for You quiz linked in the show notes. Join me again next week as we continue to demystify crystals, how your brain works, and how you can use them so you can have more energy, get more done, and feel better every day.